We're a little behind schedule, so just hang tight. We'll be with you shortly. Thank you.
Please enter your access code followed by the pound or hash sign. To enable audio controls, please enter your audio PIN followed by the pound or hash sign. If you do not have a PIN,
Okay, Mayor, we're ready when you're ready. It's
Okay,
recording.
thank you. The time's now 6:36. I'd like to call the March 7th, 2023 City Council meeting to order. GoToWebinar transcript of council meetings are available upon request after the council meeting. For real-time transcription, visit your Apple app or Google Play Store and download services such as Live Transcribe or Live Caption. The public is encouraged to join the meeting online or by phone at the number printed on the agenda, which can be found on the city's website at www.diamondbarca.gov or in person. at the main auditorium, South Coast Air Quality Management District, AQMD. We have also allowed public comments to be submitted in advance to the city clerk. If any were received, they will be noted for the record when we get to the public comment period. This meeting is being recorded, and by participating, you are giving your permission to be televised. This meeting will be rebroadcast every Saturday and Sunday at 9 a.m. and alternate Tuesdays at 8 p.m. and archived for viewing on the city's website at diamondbarca.gov. Now, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance led by Councilmember Tang, and then please remain standing for the invocation by Pastor Jim West of Evangelical Free Church.
I pledge
To the flag of the United States
of America.
To the republic.
one
nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
For all. Let's pray. Thank you, Father, for Diamond Bar, for the committed council, the dedicated staff, the wonderfully diverse residents that are here today, and those that are all around the community. And thank you so much for the lovely setting you've given us, our green hills, our remarkably spacious buildings. And now come join us today and bless your people with patience, with grace, with insight, with wisdom, and particularly with caring. We thank you for all these things that we ask in the precious name of your Son, Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Please be seated. Thank you. City Clerk Santana, can you please take the roll?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Councilmember Lowe?
Here.
Councilmember Tang?
Here.
Councilmember Tai?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Lu?
Here.
Mayor Chow?
I'm here as well, thank you. City Manager Fox, are there any changes to the agenda as presented?
There are no changes.
Thank you. The agenda is hereby approved, and we have a very exciting special presentation to our winners of the American Association of University Women's Speech Track Contest. So if I can have the contestant come up and have my council colleagues join me down here in the, I guess we'll call the pit. We'll present you with certificates and take a couple pictures. If you can come up. Join us.
Steve.
Come up, don't be shy, come up. And the organizer, Amar, Rachel, you want to come up? Yeah, we'll present it. Oh, why don't we balance out a little bit? So you want to realize we'll stay on this side. Well, first of all, thank you so much for being here. For those of you that don't know, it's been a few months. We had a speech contest. It's an annual event hosted by the American Association of University Women, and these are our winners from that night. I still remember being inspired by what you said that night, your speeches. You're so prepared. Some of you one day might actually be sitting up here joining one of us as a council member. So I'm really looking forward to all that you accomplished. So for your accomplishment, would you have a few certificates? Let's start with, you have one? You want to read and give to them? I'm not sure. Which ones do you have? Let's start this way.
I have third.
Okay. Do you want to just read them and just give it to them? Yeah.
Okay, all right. So this is honorable mention for Audrey Lee in recognition. The Diamond Bar City Council extends its congratulations and commendation to Audrey Lee, representing Walnut High School. Acknowledging your participation and achievement in the 7th Annual American Association of University Women's Speech Track Contest. Congratulations and thank you so much.
Oh, three. Okay, thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
We should keep her.
Congratulations. Oh, stay there. We'll take a picture, group picture later. And next one is for Cindy Chen. Come on, Cindy. So, thank you. We commend you and commendation for you representing Walnut High School. And congratulations and thank you. Okay, so this next one is for Felix Pan. Felix, congratulations, and you are representing Diamond Bar High School. Thank you. And then I will let the council member Tang do a third place.
This is for Jeremiah June. Jeremiah. Thank you for your participation and achievement in the 7th Annual American Association of University Women's Speech Track Contest. Thank you very much. Thank you for your achievement.
Yep, and then
The excitement builds. Now for second place winner, Margaret Lee. She had to work. All right, well, I'm going to award that to you. You're accepting on behalf of Margaret. Very good. Congratulations to Margaret.
Thank you very much. You know, if these kids are going to let work get in the way of their studying, I don't know what's going to come of us. So this is for, by process of elimination, I bet it's for you, Anna Yang. And what did you do earlier? Whoop, whoop. Diamond Ranch High School. My wife was there for 20 years, so I will tell her that Anna Yang was a first place winner representing Diamond Ranch High School. We're very, very proud of you.
congratulations. There you go, mate.
Take a photo. Take a group photo.
Yep. We will.
We're going to have to consolidate.
Let's move that way a little bit.
You want this way, Seth?
Like that be the middle.
Brilliant.
What that logo is. What the logo
Keep coming, keep coming.
Okay. All right.
You turn this way, but you guys, all right, there we go.
Yes, come on. Don't make me come up there.
here to support the kids.
All right. Congratulations, you guys. Very exciting.
Yes.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Okay, very good.
Oh, wait. We're going to present the Red Cross proclamation. Thank you, students. And is Sheni Swing with us? Is Sheni here? Want to come join us? So next we have a proclamation for the Red Cross, American Red Cross Month. And we have Sheni here with us.
Hi,
Hi, you want to say a few words about Red Cross Month?
I do have a speech,
Yeah.
if I may.
Yes,
Okay.
of course. You wanna hold this?
Well, good evening. My name is Shani Swain, volunteer with American Red Cross since 2017. I'm the American Red Cross community volunteer leader for City of Diamond Bar. Truly appreciate City of Diamond Bar for honoring this proclamation. March is a Red Cross month, which has been celebrated since 1943, when President Franklin Roosevelt requested that during this month of March, our people rededicate themselves to the splendid aims and activities of the Red Cross. Since then, our nation has proclaimed March as a Red Cross Month across the country. Continue. I was born and raised in Taipei, Taiwan, and we are neighbors. And then I've been in America for 31 years. Ever since I was a little girl, I've been seeing those Red Cross on the street, and I told myself that I want to be one of them. As you all know, in America, we are famous for having your dreams come true. So here I am. Each year, on average, the American Red Cross responds to more than 60,000 disasters across the country, trains more than 4.8 million people in first aid, water safety, and other life-saving skills, collects more than 4.6 million blood donations and nearly 1 million platelet donations from more than 2.6 million volunteer donors, provides nearly 71,000 services to military members, volunteers, and their families, helps 230 million people outside the U.S. through American Red Cross disease prevention activities and disaster services. On behalf of the American Red Cross Los Angeles region, this month, we thank our supporters. We raise awareness about our work and ask the public to support our life-saving mission. Please visit redcross.org/LA to learn how you can be part of mission of alleviating human suffering. Thank you.
Thank you so much. On behalf of the City Council and my colleagues in the City of Diamond Bar, I want to present you with a proclamation for American Red Cross Month. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but whereas March is American Red Cross Month, a special time to recognize the invaluable service provided by this humanitarian nonprofit organization in the United States and around the world. So thank you again for your contribution, for your volunteership. Does anyone want to say a few words? Anybody? No? Okay, so let's take a group photo. Yes, please, we're neighbors. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Let's go back up. Wait, let's go back up. Thank you. And we do have one more certificate proclamation for Women's History Month. As you know, Women's History Month is a celebration of women's contribution to history, culture, and society, and has been observed annually in the month of March in the United States since the United States Congress declared March as Women's History Month in 1987. So the City Council joins the rest of the country in proclaiming March as Women's History Month. Okay, now let's move on to item number 2, City Manager Report and Recommendations. City Manager Fox.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Our Assistant City Manager, Ryan McLean, will provide the annual public safety report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of the City Council. I'm pleased to be here this evening to present the 2022 Annual Public Safety Report. This is a document that was first introduced in 2017, and really the intent is to provide the council and the community with a detailed look at our public safety programs, and then a comparison of annual statistics from a year-to-year basis and then on a historical basis as well. I would like to note that the report is pretty detailed. It will be available online for those that want to really dig into the details. So for purposes of time, this presentation will not cover all the aspects contained in the report, but please, if there are any questions, please let me know. And I would also add that in addition to this report, we do have some open data sets on our city website where you can track law enforcement, fire, and other statistics on an ongoing basis. Okay, we'll begin with our animal control and care partners at the Inland Valley Humane Society. They are primarily responsible for the enforcement of the city's animal ordinances. They also provide animal care, licensing, public outreach, and their Getting to Zero campaign, which is an ongoing effort to reduce any euthanasia in the shelter. And it's been a very successful program over the years. The Inland Valley Humane Society provides these services under a contract that the City Council approves, usually on a every 2-year basis, and they've been our partners for many years, dating back to very early in the city's history. On the screen, you'll see some statistics there, and again, for purposes of this presentation, I'm not going to go through each and every one of them, but you'll see when compared to the previous year, animal adoptions are up slightly when compared to 2021, and then some of the not-so-good things are all down, so that's a good trend when you're looking at bites, cruelty, and animal code violations. Moving on to fire and emergency medical services. These services are provided by the Los Angeles County Fire Department. This is provided under a consolidated fire district, and this is fundamentally different than how we pay for law enforcement services, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Essentially, the city's local fire and emergency medical services are provided through that district, in which monies are collected on an annual basis through a property tax assessment. That assessment is collected by the county and then used to provide the services locally. And so we have 3 LA County fire stations, about 40 personnel that are assigned to those stations, and Chief Vela is the commanding officer or commanding chief of the personnel here. We also have the East County Administration Office located in Diamond Bar, so we do have some additional staff that provide administrative support, plan checking, and just general oversight of this region of the county. And that facility is located in the old library building on Grand Avenue. One thing that's very important to remember when we're working with one of the largest fire departments in the United States is that not only do we have the personnel, equipment, resources of the 3 stations that are local, we have the ability to bring in additional resources as needed from all of the county area, and we've been fortunate to have those resources available when we've had some wildland fires on the periphery of the city. And so you may have seen some of the super scooper tankers that have been out there putting out fires before they could become a real issue here. Unfortunately, we haven't been faced with losing any structures or property in Diamond Bar, even with some of those large complex fires that we've had over the years. So it's really helpful to have the resources available and on call on an ongoing basis. The fire department offers a wide variety of public safety, engagement, and outreach programs, and the items on the screen are not a full accounting of everything that they do, but they're a highlight. You'll see that there are some pretty significant ones in particular that I'll highlight. The Solar Group, that is a joint effort to bring the command of the various fire departments that represent the Four Corners area. As you know, we have San Bernardino County, Riverside County, Orange County, and LA County coming together right in our backyard. And we have a lot of open space, wildland fire frontage in those areas. So the Solar Group brings together the leadership of those departments to plan and prepare for response to a major fire situation that impacts all of them. It presents a unified command and it provides for a better response, and it's been a very successful program, again, with some of the challenges we're facing with a longer and more dangerous fire season. The fire department also works with our residents to conduct brush clearance programs, and so they go out to over 3,000 properties in Diamond Bar that have brush clearance requirements under the state wildland mapping system. And that's really important because one of the best ways to protect property when you're faced with a wildfire is maintaining a defensible space and making sure that any of the brush that is either on or adjacent to your property is brought down. And so they work very closely with the city and our residents to make sure that brush clearance is taken care of. And then one other key program among the many is the Ready, Set, Go program. And this is an emergency preparedness program. A lot of information on the city website about the Ready, Set, Go program and on the fire department's website. But it provides resources for residents to be ready to evacuate quickly, to make sure that they have a plan for their families and they have the amenities they need to leave, whether that's medication, clothes, food, items for their pets, and so on. It's a really important and effective planning program for emergency safety and preparedness. Here are some important key statistics for 2022 as compared to 2021. Most of the numbers are pretty close. We see a pretty standard number of calls, a few more incidents here and there in each of the categories. When you look at fire incidents, for example, there were 7 more incidents in 2022 than 2021, and a slight uptick in rescue EMS services. You'll also notice that medical rescue and emergency medical services are the number one incident that our fire department personnel responds to locally. And they do a good job of working with our law enforcement partners when the need arises as well. Moving on to law enforcement. The law enforcement services for the city of Diamond Bar are provided by the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department. I did mention there was a difference in the way those services were funded. These services are funded by the city through its general fund under a contract model. And so this past fiscal year, the budget included about $7.5 million for law enforcement services. What we do is we purchase specific personnel. So you'll see 16 deputies plus 1 non-sworn community services assistant that provides some administrative assistant and enforcement of our traffic laws to assist our deputies to make sure that they have the time to be out on patrol and responding to calls. They are led by Captain Towsey. We also get, in addition to that, and we don't pay for this on a line item basis through that contract, all of the supplemental personnel that are necessary to have a local police department. And so that is the command staff, the detectives, the administrative staff that's there, all of the facilities and equipment, vehicles and so forth. That's all included in that number. And then we are also augmented by volunteers on patrol. And these are people, local residents that have taken it upon themselves to make a difference. And they've joined the volunteer program and they assist our deputies at the station and in the field, conducting vacation checks, being extra eyes and ears out in the community. And the city has realized thousands of hours of additional support from these dedicated volunteers, and we appreciate that. Then one other note I'd like to make about the personnel is that we have a core group of patrol deputies, but they are also supplemented in that group of 16 total by a special assignment team. And these are, for lack of a better term, our rovers that augment the patrol deputies and can go attack very specific trends, issues, and can provide face-to-face interactions with residents, community relations type things. We have dedicated deputies for traffic enforcement. We have dedicated deputies for community relations programs like Coffee with a Cop and our Neighborhood Watch program. We have deputies that work with our businesses to help reduce commercial burglaries. And this group of special assignment deputies really has helped us be flexible and be able to react to changing conditions. So now we'll take a look at the general law enforcement statistics for 2022. First off, I think it's important to explain a little bit about what total Part 1 crimes are. So total Part 1 crimes are the number of significant uniform type crimes in a couple of categories that each U.S. jurisdiction reports to the FBI. They're known as index crimes. They fall into two buckets, violent crimes and property crimes. You'll see the vast majority of the crime activity or incidents in Diamond Bar is related to property crime, and we'll get into that in a little bit more detail. But when you sum both of those up, you'll see that there was an approximately 9.58% increase in total Part 1 crimes when compared with 2021. That's a difference of 93 incidents total, about 8 incidents more a month. It's always helpful when looking at numbers to look at a historical perspective in addition to just the year to year. So in 2022, when you look at this chart, and I know it's hard to see on the screen, but again, I'd encourage everybody to take a look at the report, which we will post on the city website following this meeting, and you'll be able to dig into those numbers as you see fit. But total Part 1 crime in 2022 was under our historical averages, but it was over the historical median. The violent crime was under both historical average and median, so we're in a good position there. Property crime was under historical averages, but above the median. And really what all this means is that the bottom line is we kind of had a middle-of-the-road performance-wise year when compared to the 33, 34 years of the city's history. When you look at the big picture dating back to 1989 as compared to now, the city's numbers are significantly less than they were in the first 10 years of the city's history. And they've kind of plateaued within this, this band that you see on the screen over the last 20 years or so. Pulling this down into a 5-year perspective. So we've looked at year to year, we've looked at the historical data over 30 plus years, and now we're going to look at a 5-year window. And obviously this 5-year window is a little bit of an anomaly because we had the COVID pandemic in the midst of that, and that had some real impacts on crime activity. When we talk about property crime in particular, which is about 90% of the crime in Diamond Bar, that's often a crime of opportunity. And so when we have more people at home, less people on the street, there's less opportunity for a lot of the property crime that we've experienced in the past. So we had a real reduction in that during that period. As everything is opened back up, when you look at the trends across the entire county, you'll see that those numbers have crept back up as opportunity has increased as well. So looking at these graphs, total Part 1 crime, total violent crime, and total property crime all came in under the 5-year averages. As for the median, which kind of centers us a little bit, total Part 1 crime and total Part 1 property crime came in under, while violent crime was slightly above, just barely by, I think, 7 total incidents. So no real outliers here. Again, we're trending in a pretty flat way. We'll take a little deeper look into total Part 1 violent crime performance for 2022, and we'll talk about each of the 4 categories there. There were 31 additional violent crimes total in 2022. So you'll look at the numbers and you'll see it appears to be a big spike. That's 31 incidents total, about 2.5 more per month. Those incidents, the added 31 incidents for the violent crime category, are primarily the result of 18 additional assault incidents. And we work closely with the sheriff's captain and the crime analyst to look at trends. And one of the trends that we've noticed with these assault incidents is that the majority of these are domestic in nature. They're not happening randomly as you walk down the street. They're known to victim incidents, or they involve road rage. We've had a few more of those out there, and our deputies are responding to more incidents that involve that. And so that could be the result of some of the close proximity that we have to freeways, gas stations. We've broken it down to even look at specific incidents, and we've had a number of them related to people just getting off the freeway at a gas station and getting into an argument with someone there. So I think it's important to provide some of the background details so that there's some context involved with the numbers. And if there are any questions from the members of the public or the city council, I'm available to answer those. Moving into property crime, and again, this is about 90% of the crime incidents that Diamond Bar faces on an annual basis. The drivers of property crime are in two categories, and that is burglary and larceny theft. So when we look at burglary in particular, we had 37 additional burglary incidents when compared to the previous year. Nearly all of these were commercial burglaries. I think there were only 3 more residential burglaries when compared to the previous year. So most of our challenge when addressing the increase in burglary is at the commercial, in the commercial category. When we look at larceny theft, there was only 21 more incidents when compared to the previous year, so less than 2 a month. And again, I'll emphasize this in our special assignment team that works closely with residents in their neighborhoods. It's often a crime of opportunity. It's really important for residents to partner with us, be the eyes and ears in the community, report any suspicious activity. Be aware, safeguard your home, lock your car doors. A high number of our larceny theft is simply from door pulls where a car door was unlocked and there was something of value taken. You can also join a neighborhood watch. It's a great way not only to meet your neighbors, but to play a role in reducing crime in your community and in your neighborhood. So don't hesitate to reach out. We'd be happy to come out and speak with you in your neighborhood. And again, if you see anything that is suspicious, please report it to our Sheriff's Department directly. Call the station, and you'll get the quickest response. Traffic statistics. This is obviously a big part of our ongoing law enforcement and public safety program, given the unique location that we have with major freeways, goods movement corridors, cut through traffic on a daily basis. So traffic enforcement and education of drivers is really important. We do have a dedicated traffic car that's on the street on a daily basis, and we augment that with our special assignment team. And you'll see that particularly when it comes to school locations. Now, obviously, we have a lot of different schools throughout town, and we have a limited amount of deputies. We can't be everywhere at once, but we try to work with the schools in particular to address those issues. We find that school traffic issues usually start at the beginning of the year when there's a rush to get back to school. And so we have our deputies spend a good amount of time out near the school reminding drivers of the traffic laws and safe driving habits. And if necessary, they will be doing enforcement. When you look at the increase in some of the categories here, this is, I think, directly a result of more and more people on the street coming off post-lockdown. And it's also a combination of the unique traffic situation that we have. We have a lot of people that commute right through town. This is a key traffic location if you're trying to get to Orange County, if you're going to downtown LA for work. And so we have a lot of people that are cutting through on our residential streets using apps like Waze to get around choke points. And so unfortunately, we sometimes have to deal with some of those traffic impacts. There we go. We partner very closely with the Sheriff's Department on outreach and engagement programs. This is very important, particularly just to reinforce the need to partner with the community to reduce crime. We have a number of programs: Neighborhood Watch, Coffee with the Cop, Business Watch, where we try to work with commercial business owners to help them harden their businesses to avoid any commercial burglaries. We have a lot of information on our city website, videos, print materials. We have a blog, specific crime reduction handouts and leaflets. During the summer at one of our concerts and movie events, we have the Diamond Bar Night Out, in which we have representatives from all of our public safety organizations out there to interact with the public, learn from them, and provide information. And then we've been working with residents during our City Government Explained presentations that are ongoing now to provide information and get feedback from them on how we're doing with the public safety program. We all have to participate in finding solutions, making sure that we're part of the corrective action that needs to take place if there is crime in town. So again, please, if you're interested in a neighborhood watch, if you're interested in working with our sheriff deputies on how you can improve your neighborhoods and reduce crime and partner with your neighbors, please let us know and we'd be happy to work with your community. And then finally, we have a Let's Talk Public Safety series. That was an outreach program and a town hall type presentation that we conducted throughout the community in the year prior to the COVID lockdown. And we're looking at ways that we can upgrade and improve that program and get back out there. So there'll be additional opportunities for the public to interact with our public safety representatives and those of us at City Hall that administer the programs in partnership with our public safety teams. And so I know that's a lot of information, and again, there's more in the report if you're interested and online, but really would like to summarize by saying Diamond Bar is a safe community. It's a low crime community. That doesn't mean that there isn't crime. That doesn't mean we don't have room to improve. But overall, it's a safe community. And that's really the result of our partnerships with our public safety groups and the residents of the community that are out there keeping an eye on their properties and their neighbors. We've seen some impact with the post-lockdown impacts on crime trends. Property crime really is the focus. Again, crime of opportunity. So as people have gotten back to the daily grind of being away from home, there's more opportunity. And so we really got to focus on ways that we can be active and aware. Our partnerships, these are really important. Again, partner with the community, partner with our law enforcement, fire, and animal control providers. And when we do that, we get positive results. Again, if you see something, please say something, please report it. Go directly to the station. It's easy to call City Hall, it's easy to post something online, but for an effective response, call the station. They'll be able to get somebody out there. Communication and engagement, we're always trying to find ways to work with the community as best as we can, provide two-way communication opportunities, provide different ways for people to communicate and get the word out. And so that will remain something we're working on with all of our partners in public safety. And so with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions. And again, for members of the public and members of the council, if there are any questions related to this program, the statistics, the information that is online, I'm available to answer any questions by phone or email. Thank you.
Thank you, Assistant Manager McLean. Do we have any questions from the council? Councilmember Lowe?
Thank you, Mayor. My one question and a point with regard to the number of officers that Captain Talzi commands, it was 16, but you indicated that we also have at our disposal detective units. Do those detectives that are working on our crimes, do they also report to our captain or do they report to someone else? And my question goes to, if there's a question, who do they reach?
The detectives that are housed in the station here report to the captain. If we are using a special task force from a special unit that is not housed at the station, they may report to someone else, but they'll work collaboratively with our local captain and command staff.
So if there were a question, they should go through Captain Talzi then?
Yes, I think that would be the best place to start, and if there's any additional communication we need to help foster, we can do that.
Okay, thank you. And then my other question, actually my other point was regard to your information about domestic violence and road rage being on the rise, and that's really concerning to me. Domestic violence in that it's such you're living with fear basically. That in that control environment. And then in road rage, your life could change in just a second. And you don't know who your attacker might or might not be. And it's really scary. I wonder if there's some way we can educate and give some advice to our people to how to, work how to deal with this and for sure to avoid the road rage?
I'm sure there are ways that we can try to engage with people, and I can confer with the captain to see if there's anything that the department provides to address those issues. I think some of these are unfortunately out of our control in some respects, but we can certainly get the word out that going to violence is not the best option.
Well, if they're, for example, being followed, then they should not stop off their car and go to the car that's following them, for example. That kind of tips.
Yes, for sure. And I think it's also important to remember that while I highlighted those specifics as kind of some context to the numbers are very low. It's not as if there's a huge trend that, we're seeing the amount of domestic abuse or road rage incidents go off the charts. When you look really deep into the violent crime numbers that we have, they're very low. It's not a likely occurrence. Now, again, we don't want any of them to happen. We want that number to be zero. But I think it's important to note that while we saw some of those making up the majority of the incidents that we had, there wasn't an extreme increase in the number of incidents in those categories.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Ms. McLean. Earlier, there was mention of there is an increase in crime statistically, and then the next reference is most of these crimes are crime of opportunity. Since there's an uptick, is there things that we're doing or the things that we can do to step up our outreach or some of the things that we can engage the community to prevent some of these crimes of opportunity?
Yes, that information is at the core of the Neighborhood Watch program in particular. So Deputy Scheller will come out and he'll work with residents in a specific neighborhood, and he'll talk to them about ways that they can make sure that their house isn't an opportunity for those that are looking for it. So we do make that part of almost every discussion that we have with Neighborhood Watch groups, Coffee with a Cop. When we were doing Let's Talk Public Safety town halls, that was part of the discussion as well. So that is part of it. The City Council has also, in addition to just kind of the education piece, has also set aside funding in, I think, every budget, at least the last 5-6 years, where we have some flexibility to then go out and do suppression patrols to deal with some of those issues. We recently completed one of those during the first about month and a half of the season, basically starting from the holiday period in December through January, and we saw some positive results there. So it's a combination of the outreach and engagement, and then the funding that the council has put in the budget on top of our just normal contract to go out and do undercover work, suppression patrol, putting additional cars on the street with a specific purpose in mind. And I remember that the number for January was only 8 burglaries on the residential side during that period. So we found that to be a cost-effective way to go about it and an effective way to reduce those numbers. But I think we're always looking for the best combination, both engagement, education, and the boots on the ground and the tools that they need to get it done.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Councilmember Tai?
Not so much a question as an observance. It's interesting, Ryan, that you said that the way that we pay the fire department is so different than the way we pay the sheriff. And, you and I could go from one end of town to the other and we could see 3 or 4 or 5 sheriff's cars. And if we don't go by a fire station, we don't see the firemen. We just see them when we need them and when they're behind us. So I thought it would be interesting to share with folks that last week, the Board of Supervisors chose Captain Anthony Marone to be the new fire chief, replacing Daryl Osby, and he had been interim since July when Daryl retired. So I'd like to say there's a new sheriff in town, but that's not the case. There's a new fire chief in town, and Captain Vila will have a new boss to report to. So for your information.
Thank you. Councilmember Tang, did you have a comment? Go ahead. Thank you.
For last month also, I got a direct contact with 2 residents complaining about the suspicion of mailbox theft. So I wonder if city or the station receive any statistic about mailbox theft. And for those two cases, I have told the resident to contact the sheriff department and to get help or get the information of how to improve or how to reduce the mail theft. But I guess they never contact the sheriff station. So I suspect these kind of property crime might be underreported.
I can't speak to the specifics of that case. We can certainly look into it and see if it was reported or not. Mailbox theft is something that cities everywhere deal with. We've had our special assignment teams go out and work in certain areas where we've had those trends. I think the best approach, and I think the one that our deputies would advise to those that have experienced it, is to get a box that locks and use that. I know that there are sometimes shared gang boxes that have multiple mailboxes within them. If that's the case, work with your HOAs or your neighbors to try to find boxes that have a lock. That's the best, most effective way to reduce mailbox theft. And again, I would remind everyone, anytime there's a situation that involves, whether it's mailbox theft, property crime, any type of crime, please call the station and report it. It's impossible for me to say whether it's over or under-reported, but the most effective way to get results is to contact law enforcement and let them investigate.
Thank you. Any more comments, questions? If not, thank you so much for the presentation. We're going to go ahead and move on to public comments. Public comments, the time reserved on each regular meeting agenda to provide an opportunity for members of the public to directly address the City Council on consent calendar items or other matters of interest not on the agenda that are within the subject matter jurisdiction of the Council. Although the City Council values your comments, pursuant to the Brown Act, members of the City Council or staff may only briefly respond to public comments if necessary, but no extended discussion and no action on such items may take place. There is a 5-minute maximum time limit when addressing the City Council. At this time, I'll call up speakers who have submitted a speaker card first, and then our City Clerk Santana will then ask those callers on the teleconference who may wish to speak under public comments. I have 4 speaker cards, so if anyone else wishes to speak, please submit a card to Captain Towsey. Let me call up Cynthia Yu first. Cynthia?
Okay, good evening, Mr. Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, City Council members, city staff, and members of the audience. My name is Cynthia Yu from Diamond Bar Library. Tomorrow at 10 a.m., please join us for an hour full of hands-on fun. Explore everything in March, such as spring, St. Patrick's Day, and more through books and various art activities. This program is for ages 1 to 5 with their parent or caregiver. Also, come and enjoy a fun and social hour as we gather to celebrate Cesar Chavez Day by making blankets for foster youth. These no-soap fleece blankets will bring comfort and warmth to children that are part of our community. We will have a session for teens on Wednesday, March 15th at 4 p.m. and a session for adults on Wednesday, March 22nd at 11 a.m. This program is co-sponsored by Diamond Bar Friends of the Library. And also a friendly reminder, all LA County Library locations, including Diamond Bar Library, will be closed for staff development this Thursday, March 9th. We are always open online. Please visit lacountylibrary.org to get ebooks, audiobooks, movies, music, and more. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next, we have Marianne Hill. Hello, please come up. Thank you.
Sorry. I have a written statement, so I'm just trying to get it. Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Marianne Hill, I was introduced to this city by my father, Gregory Hill. He's pictured here. He's a retired captain of the Los Angeles County Fire Department. He bought his first home in this city in 1989, just as the city was first incorporated. We attended a carnival to celebrate the city's beginning right here in the parking lot area of this very area. He lived here until 2004. During that time, he was instrumental in the area's public safety. He was assigned as captain of the fire station in San Dimas, number 141. During his time there, he identified the need and facilitated a multi-agency collaboration with the Los Angeles County Fire Department, the California Highway Patrol, and the Department of Transportation to help prevent fatal collisions that were occurring on the 10 at the 71 and 57 interchanges. He accomplished this by designing clear direction on lane assignments for the various freeway routes and clear exit signages. In addition, he had the decorative railway ties on the borders of nearby surface streets that were there to give an Old Town feel removed. These decorations, when collided with in the event of a vehicle accident, greatly increased the result of death in the passengers. Thusly, he saved countless lives in this city and surrounding areas. His legacy will continue with all the lives that have been and will continue to be saved in perpetuity. I have returned to this city and have lived here for 5 years and counting with my 19-year-old daughter. She's here with me, Erin Brown. I am also a public servant. I work for the state of California as a parole agent supervisor. We are proud to call Diamond Bar home. My daughter recently graduated from Diamond Ranch High School and is currently attending Mount San Antonio College. During what turned out to be some of the final months of my father's life, I had the pleasure of caring for him in his final days right here in this city. He would sit and stare out of my front window at the mountains, looking at the mountains, and walk the hills trying to regain his strength. He met all of the neighbors, and I dubbed him the ambassador of my neighborhood. I am a poet, and I believe there is a need for poetry and arts in this city. I lost my father toward the end of last year, and I wrote this poem in honor of him. I'd like to read it now. It's titled, Blowing in the Wind. Ashes to ashes, and dust to dust. That's what the Lord said when teeth gnashes, because there's pain in the trust. What do we do when the body dies? Do we put it in the ground to rot? Or set it free to fly with the butterflies, like blowing out a daisy, saying, forget me not. I'll never forget the love I have for my dad, not past tense, but the present. Because in turning his body to ash, I'm able to keep it with me in my everyday life like a present. But even in keeping him, I also get to set him free. Some ashes to spread, some ashes to keep. And the person setting him free is me. As the wind takes him, I silently weep. Freeing him from the mountaintops, freeing him on the beach, freeing him while my tears drop, freeing him when my voice has no speech. Freeing him as I free my grief, freeing him to free myself, freeing him for his relief, freeing him from sitting on a shelf. And now he is free, free from this world and all the pain, and the person freeing him is me. Thank you. Thank you all very much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing your thoughts with us. Our deepest condolences. I'm so sorry about your loss.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here. Next, we have Teresa Lee.
Hi. Good evening, Mayor Chow, City Council members, staff, and neighbors. My name is Teresa Lee, and I'm a resident of Diamond Bar and also serve as the Vice President of TACF, the Together Against Crime Foundation. I'm here today to address the increase in our crime rate last year versus 2021. I'm afraid that the crime rate is underreported. Based on our community outreach, either through our VOP volunteer on patrol, members' direct contact with the victims, or our social network established through our foundation, we have found that many Asian victims are reluctant to report. Our community is over 50% Asian and thus have special characteristic in culture and behavior. Asian communities are afraid of reporting to the law enforcement for fear of public exposure and retaliation. For example, a store owner may not report case of robbery in anticipation that their customer will feel the facility or neighborhood is unsafe to visit and thus cause their business to go elsewhere. Additionally, the mentality that reporting would not result in recovery of their lost goods, but time consumption and more stress involved. Furthermore, the language barrier prohibits them from reporting. As a member of TACF, we're here to actively support our law enforcement and hope that our Sheriff Department can incorporate Asian community relations to close up that gap and make our Asian community feel more comfortable to interact with our law enforcement members. Building the trust can enhance our networking to possibly more apprehension of criminals and prevention of crime. We all know that the criminal typically will pick the low-hanging fruit. If we make the stake higher and tougher, they're most likely to walk away. Meanwhile, the TACF will continue to work closely with our Sheriff Department and to share out some of the non-hazardous duties, recruit more VOPs, conduct community outreach, and form neighborhood watch groups. In addition to community bonding, technology is another avenue to combat crime. I would like to introduce the Country Board President, Charles Zhang, to share our experience on the flock system that we have just recently implemented in the community. And that concludes my presentation.
Thank you. Thank you. Let me bring up the next speaker. That way you get full 5 minutes. You're not sharing your minutes. We'll have Charles Zhang. Please come to the mic. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor Cho, Mayor Pro Tem Liu, Councilman Tai, Councilman Tan, and Councilwoman Lo. My name is Charles Zhang, the board president of the Country Homeowner Association in Diamond Bar. We are probably one of the largest, private homeowner association in Los Angeles. I've been serving on the board since 2016 as a board member. Safety and the general well-being of the member is always our primary concerns. In the past 8 years, our community has been constantly struck by breaking burglaries almost every year. It usually starts from Thanksgiving Day, the beginning of holiday seasons, until February of next year. To deter the crimes, we increase and add more surveillance camera systems, increase more street patrols, including foot patrols. We even, set up, reward program for our security force to prevent those property crimes, to catch or need to arrest any burglars. Among all the measures we took, the most effective and we feel, worth spending the money is flock safety camera. This is what I'd like to share here with our council today. In our January board meeting, we approved to install new flock safety camera system. It was installed in February at our Diamond Bar entries and the Grand entries. In about a month, we had the flock safety system. One stolen car was retrieved and several suspects was apprehended. there were much more police and law enforcement activities in our community than ever before. I don't know what they are exactly doing here in our community, as the law enforcement would not share the information with us. But we do know how many times, and who come in. As every time they come in, they check with our security, and we will get a report for it. It's like we have the whole police force, the sheriff, and the other concerned law enforcement work for us. Today, I search the records from yesterday to today. In our flag system, we see, that I got 7 pages of printout that will show who's searching the history, who is monitor the video. I have the print out here. I can, give to a mayor. You can take a look. It's total 17 pages. Most of them are from LA County Sheriff, which means once we installed flag safety, we connected with LA Sheriff and other law enforcement in real time. The flag safety camera costs only $2,400 per year for each camera, and that's including all the maintenance and the software support. Unlike, the other passive surveillance camera, flag safety camera is proactive. It will alert local police when it detects a stolen vehicle or registered vehicle belong to criminals. 60% of the stolen vehicle are associated with additional crime. It will respond to amber and silver alert. It doesn't only scan the license plate, but also the car model, colors, type, plus the unique features. I feel this is the best spend money so far in the matter of safety and security for our members and our entire community. Hoping this information and our experience are helpful and experienced. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Zhang. Those are the only speaker cards I have. Is anyone else in the audience wishing to speak at this point? If not, then City Clerk Santana, were there any other public comments, emails that were received?
Thank you, Mayor Chow. There was one email received from Lisa Vasquez. It was forwarded to the City Council and placed at the entrance of the meeting for public viewing. And at this time, we don't have anyone on the teleconference.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So at this point, we're going to go ahead and close the public comment section and move on to item number 4, which is schedule of future events. Mr. Fox.
Good evening, Mayor Chow and members of the City Council. On this schedule of future events, we have the Traffic and Transportation Commission will be meeting on Thursday, March 9th, starting at 6:30 p.m. in the Windmill Community Room at City Hall. The Planning Commission meeting will be held next Tuesday, March 14th at 6:30 p.m. in the Windmill Community Room at City Hall. Coffee with the Cop will also be held next Tuesday, March 14th in the morning from 7:30 to 9:30 a.m. at Begaloo at 1200 South Diamond Bar Boulevard. And our next City Council meeting will be held on Tuesday, March 21st, starting at 6:30 p.m. here in the AQMD Auditorium. And our next community workshop on the Town Center Specific Plan will be held Wednesday, March 22nd, starting at 6 p.m. at the Diamond Bar Center. And that concludes the schedule of upcoming events.
Thank you, Mr. Fox. Let's go on to number 5, consent calendar.
On the consent calendar this evening, you have approval of the special joint City Council Planning Commission meeting minutes for January 24th and the regular City Council meeting minutes for February 21st, and ratification of the check register dated February 15th through February 28th. And that concludes the consent calendar.
Thank you. Do you have any questions, or can I have a motion for approval?
Motion to approve.
I have a motion.
Second. Second.
Motion by Councilmember Lowe and second by Councilmember Tai. Can you take the roll, please?
Yes, Mayor. Councilmember Lowe?
Yes.
Councilmember Tang?
Yes.
Councilmember Tai?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Lu?
Yes.
Mayor Chow?
Yes, thank you. Motion carries 5-0. We'll move on to item number 6, public hearings. We have none. And now item number 7, council consideration. Mr. Fox.
Good evening again, Mayor Chow and members of the City Council. The got a couple of slides that we can put up on this one? There we go. Thank you. The City Council has established 3 commissions, the Parks and Recreation Commission, the Planning Commission, and the Traffic and Transportation Commission. Each council member appoints 1 member to each commission to serve a 2-year term, which commences on March 1st of even-numbered years. Each council member also has 30 days to fill any vacancies that may be created from their appointments during the terms of office. The proposed code amendment would increase the amount of time to fill vacancies from 30 to 60 days. This will provide a more realistic time frame for advertising and soliciting applications from candidates, thereby promoting greater public participation and better accounting for the City Council's bi-monthly meeting schedule. The second part of the amendments include the change of the terms of office for commissioners from even-numbered years to odd number of years. I do want to clarify the staff report on packet page 90. I have that backwards. That was on me. I apologize for that. The rest of the paragraph is accurate, but again, we're proposing that we change it from even-numbered years to odd-numbered years. And this would provide consistency with what previously existed when the council elections were being held prior to when we moved them to the statewide general elections. We believe it would also provide for improved opportunity to advertise and solicit commission applications, allowing council members, whether newly elected or existing, to make appointments from the same candidate pool. Next slide. And I just want to quickly kind of illustrate these changes. Again, the commission appointment process has historically followed the City Council election schedule, which was held in November of odd numbers years. Following the elections, the applications would be solicited, and the council would make their appointments from the same candidate pool for a 2-year term beginning in March of the following even-numbered years. Next slide. In 2017, the City Council elections were moved to coincide with the statewide general elections held in November of even-numbered years. This moved the council elections out 1 year, shown by that red arrow. In November 2018, this was the first election under that new schedule. However, the commission terms of office were never revised by a year to reflect the change. And this has resulted in the need to do separate advertising and additional recruitment for commissioner appointments midterm when new council members are elected to office. And those are represented by the red stars. Next slide. And so the proposed schedule would simply change the timing of the commission appointments to odd-numbered years. This would return to the previous schedule where the appointment process closely follows the November elections. And there is one caveat that the term of office for the current commissioners would be extended by 12 months from 2024 to 2025. Next slide. And so with that, we're recommending that you receive any public comments, introduce first reading by title only, which I am happy to do prior to any vote being taken, and waive full reading of the ordinance, and schedule the second reading and adoption at your next City Council meeting. And I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Fox. And at this point, do we take public comments first?
Yes, please.
Okay. Are there any public comments on this item? Anyone in the audience wishes to speak on this item? If not, City Clerk Santana, can you check the phones?
Yes, Mayor, there were no emails submitted for this item, and there's no members of the public on the call right now.
Thank you. Then we're going to go ahead and close public comment on this item. Are there any City Council comments or questions from anybody? Oh, we're quiet today. If not, would someone like to make a motion?
Motion.
We'll have a motion by Councilmember Tang. Do I have a second?
I'll second, Mayor.
I have a second by Mayor Pro Tem Liu. City Clerk Santana, can you take the roll, please?
Yes, Mayor, but City Manager, would you like to read the title?
I'd be happy to read the title. Thank you. The title of Ordinance 01-2023, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Diamond Bar, California, amending sections 2.32.040, 2.36.040, and 2.40.040 of the Diamond Bar City Code, revising the terms of office and timeline to fill vacancies for city commissions.
Thank you. So we have a first and a second. Can we take the roll?
Yes, Mayor.
Thank you.
Councilmember Lowe?
Yes.
Councilmember Tang?
Yes.
Councilmember Tai?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Liu?
Yes.
Mayor Chow?
Yes, motion carries 5-0 on first reading. Thank you so much. Now we're going to go on, move to item number 8, Council Subcommittee Reports and Meeting Attendance Report. And today I'm going to start from my left. Councilmember Tai, you want to go first?
Thank you. Ms. Hill, thank you so much for staying with us. I just think that poem that you wrote for your dad was remarkable. It really hit me. Both my parents are gone. Both were cremated. And when you had that part in there where he's no longer on a shelf, that was like, I don't know if you could hear me gasp, but that was very, very touching. Thank you for sharing that with us. Just a terrific job on presenting the public safety. I know that everybody from the time we were a city has said public safety is number one, and it is the number one priority in Diamond Bar. So thanks, Ryan, for a thorough report. I know that you get a lot of help with that, but thanks for sharing that with us, and for Captain Towsey and the job that you do and your whole team. And before Captain Towsey, it was Captain Reyes, and before that it was Captain Halm, and we just continue to get a terrific service from the sheriff, and I sincerely appreciate that report. And I know that we strive to do our best. I think that the numbers don't impress me one way or the other, because it's like a balloon that we squeeze it, and one time it's terrible, and then you pay more attention to it and it's better, and it's just one of those things that is flexible. So I appreciate the information, and would like to say again, congratulations to all of the participants that were part of AAUW's Speech Trek contest, and especially to Annie King for finishing first and for representing Diamond Ranch High School so well. So with that, I will say good night and God bless you.
Thank you. Councilmember Tang?
Thank our Ryan for doing such a long presentation today, several hours. That's a good work. Thank you. And in coincidence with the Women's History Month for this month, I attend the Miss Diamond Bar's pageant event this Saturday, and it's not a beauty pageant. It's a scholarship pageant, so that all of them have like talents, intelligence. All of them are very enthusiastic, dedicated to community work, and they all have a very high academic achievement. And of course, they are beautiful, they are graceful, and they are very elegant. And may I say, they are also very athletic too. Okay, so that I think all of them are winners, and they not only make their life better, they become a better human being by participating in such an activity. Also, they make the people surround them, they make the life better, and they make our community life better. So I congratulate them. Good night.
Thank you, Councilmember. I'll go to this side. Councilmember Lowe, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Okay, well, this past week, I attended the Capital Projects and Construction Committee of the San Gabriel Valley Council of Governments, and I want to share with you the progress of our golf course. So, Ms. Santana, can you? Oh, excellent. Thank you. So these are a couple of photos of the progress. of our golf course. You probably saw this structure, probably not from this angle, but this is the maintenance building that is being constructed on the side of the 60 freeway. And this is the crew. They're installing the sheathing or plywood to cover the roof. Well, this is to cover the roof. So let me show you from another view this structure. So here, this is an easier structure. This is easier to view. So this is the maintenance building. You can see that the roof is going on. So what you saw earlier was the roof sheathing, and then after that, then they installed some plywood, and then they put the shingles on the very top, which is the color roof that you see on this photo. So it's complicated, but it's coming along. Can I have the next photo, please? Okay, the next two photos, the one on the left is what you see is the rough grading of the fairways. So they use these big machines, and as I'm a non-golfer, the fairways are where you start golfing, and so they use the machines to grade and shape the area. And then after they finish that, then they do the fine grading. And then finally, they install the grass. So for the fairway, the grass is going to be sodded. So if you look to the photo on the bottom right, this is the fine grading of the greens. And in this area, this is where the greens are, so which is the final destination of the ball. So this has been finally graded. And then the next step is to install the grass. In this case, they seed them rather than doing the sod. And they're counting on the weather not to be wet and rainy. So once the weather dries out, they can start seeding it. And once the seeding's done, then we'll have some nice grass for the greens. So as you can see, the golf course is coming along, and hopefully that we can use that by June or July of this year. The next event I'd like to report is an update of the 5760 construction project. First of all, I'm really excited to announce that the award for the construction of the 5760 has been awarded, and the project is worth $267 million. And I just want to give a great big kudos to our Public Works Director, Mr. David Liu, and his team, our city manager, and all of the city council members, this council and the councils before it, and in their work and collaboration with the local, state, and federal partners that we've been able to work with in order to get this amount. The $267 million is just for the construction, and there was also lots of money in terms of planning and design. So this is a photo of what we can. It's a photo of what we can expect to see once it's done. So this photo shows the dedicated off-ramp from the bottom going up. So if you're on the 60 freeway going eastbound, there's going to be a separate dedicated eastbound exit all the way to Grand Avenue. So that would that way you don't have to cross 4 lanes in order to exit to Grand Avenue. So that'll be a good thing. It'll save us a lot of not only money and time, but really it'll save lives. Can I just have the next photo, please? Okay, this is a photo where you would see the off-ramp just before you get to the photo we just saw. So this is east of the first photo, and you can see this is a bridge that if you're planning to get off on Grand Avenue, you get on this bridge and that'll drop you off on Grand Avenue. So I really think that that's a great design. And then finally, we have one more photo. This is the other end of the bridge. So this is this takes you, when you're getting off of Grand Avenue, it'll take you all the way to the 60 freeway, and you won't have to cross 4 lanes in order to get to the 60 freeway from Grand Avenue. So I'm very excited that this project is it's almost off the ground. Groundbreaking hasn't started, but the contract's done and the plans are done. So it'll be a couple more years. I'm not sure when, but so it's very exciting, and we're just really grateful, and we were so grateful for all the partners and all the hard work that went into making this possible. So can I have the next photo, please? Councilmember Tang mentioned the Miss Diamond Bar pageant, and this is a photo of our new court. These are the young ladies that competed very, very bravely, in my opinion, and they were just very spectacular and very talented. Our Miss Diamond Bar is Miss Ayadi Sangao. She's in the middle. And on the left is Princess Shelby Lombard. Next to her is Princess Kennedy Cho. And next to Miss Diamond Bar is Tiffany Lee. And then on the far right is Lemuel Edwards. So congratulations to all these young ladies. You'll see them around town. They serve as ambassadors at many of our events, and we just wish them a very, very good year. And I finally have one more photo to share. Earlier we had a recognition of Women's History Month, and as part of Women's History Month, the office of our Senator Archuleta, they are recognizing women of achievement from various cities in his senatorial district. So from the city of Diamond Bar, I want to congratulate Diamond Bar's Woman of Achievement, and that's Miss Debbie Avila Mott. And she's pictured here on the right. Debbie, let me just give you a little bit of bio on her. She developed the spirit of service by watching her mother, who was a tireless volunteer. Her mother was a city council member, and believe it or not, Debbie's mother also received the Woman of the Year, many years ago. So it's really kind of fitting that Debbie has received this. But Debbie received this award because she's so involved with her community. She started serving in the Diamond Bar Women's Club, raising money, and working as a liaison for the LA County Fair. And most recently, she is the leader of the Leos Club. And here she is with one of her Leos. Under her leadership, the Leos Club in 2021 recorded 1,100 volunteer hours. And that at the time that they gave me that number, they hadn't even finished volunteering yet. But they do fun activities, they decorate the Rose Parade, they collect items, and they work with homeless people, they go to wilderness parks, and they do cleanup. They just do so much for the community. And Debbie is instrumental in running that club and just guiding those kids and inspiring them to serve and to practice kindness and to love their community. So Debbie will be honored at a breakfast hosted by Senator Archuleta on March 18th. So our big congratulations to Debbie Avila Mott for her well-deserved selection as Woman of the Month. So with that, I'll say thank you and good night.
Thank you so much. Mayor Pro Tem Liu.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Ms. Hill, for sharing your story for your father. And that is a beautiful tribute and a beautiful poem. We thank your father for your public service, making our community better, even in the streets, and as you mentioned, towards like a better word, to the last minutes, and he's still out there making a community better in the streets. And thank you for your service to our public and our communities. Thank you, staff, for the presentation. It's very detailed, and the explanations to questions that have been amazing. And thank our city for recognizing this month as Women's History Month. And Women's History Month is a time for us to celebrate the achievements and contributions of women throughout history and in contemporary society. It is an opportunity for us to recognize the vital roles that women have played in shaping our world, and to honor the struggles and triumphs of women who have fought for gender equity and women's rights. By learning about women's history and highlighting the accomplishments of women from all walks of life, we can inspire future generations of women and girls to reach their full potential and create a more just and equitable world, just as Ms. Hill is doing for public, and Cecilia Christina and John out there is doing that. Then our retired former mayor and council member Nancy Lyons, and you, council member, former mayor Lowe, and the things that you do here inspire my daughters. They're young girls, and even we see the Miss Diamond Bar contest and all the girls we saw out there. They find inspiration in what you do. I often say that when somebody asks me who is the most courageous person I know, I would say is my grandma. My grandma does not know how to write nor read. In fact, she signed her signature when she came to the U.S. as a cross. But growing up as a child, she always took care of us, and she has the courage to travel all the way from a village in China without knowing how to read, all the way to the L.A. On the plane, and first time been on the plane, in a car, in a boat. So that is what courage and shapes to what I do and how I respond, and I teach my kids. And I said, who is the hardest working person I know, and I say I would look it up as my mom. My mom is the hardest working person that I know, and also the most selfish person I know. And what they do, they're not famous people, as what we see. We see role models on everyday walks of life. Everything they do in society with the kindness and the courage and creating, just want the best, better for the world, and that really affects the newer generation, the next generation of kids, or even not only girls, even males like me. And I appreciate women in our society so much. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, just want to give a quick update on what we've been up to. So we had our first Meet the Mayor event a couple weeks ago, where I joined our Wednesday walkers at the park. That was a lot of fun, and looking forward to more events of that type in the near future. Congratulations to Basil and Company on your grand reopening, ribbon cutting with after the expansion and remodeling. I know a lot of us were there. But as far as subcommittee reports, so as you guys know, we represent Diamond Bar as part of the LA City Selection Committee. So at that meeting, we selected a chair to represent San Gabriel Valley on La Casa. La Casa, different from LASA, is the Los Angeles County Affordable Housing Solution Agency. It's represented by a board of 21, and San Gabriel Valley will be represented by Councilmember, former Mayor Jed Liano from Claremont. So he will be chairing the San Gabriel Valley sector, representing our interest on La Casa, which is still to be funded through potentially a ballot measure coming down, apparently. Also, we met with the captain on Public Safety Committee, which you heard the reports, and we also met with our city manager with our legislative subcommittee, and we're not going to take position on ballot measure at this point. Lastly, I also want to celebrate Women's History Month. I think both of you said what I meant to say, so I'm not going to repeat what you said. But I will say that as a father of a little girl, I think this month is especially important and inspiring to me. And all I can say is that hopefully we'll raise more strong little girls. May we know them, may we be them, and may we raise them, or however that goes. Thank you. Have a good night.